Welcome to a brief encounter here about pottery, on the subject of pottery. I've been running workshops where people work with clay. I've been doing that for about 40 years or more. And every time we have one of these workshops, I learn something new. If you look at a lump of clay, it doesn't look like a very interesting object. It doesn't seem as if you could learn a lot of things from it. But the longer you stay with it, the more it teaches you. And then people's reaction to it, other people's reaction or their experience in the workshop, I always learn something new. When you have made a pot on the wheel, gradually it dries. And when it has dried halfway, you can trim it a little. And then as it dries fully, you eventually put them in the kiln and raise the temperature slowly, about 100 degrees an hour, up to about 1,000 degrees centigrade, which is very hot, as you can imagine. If you were to open the kiln at that temperature, everything would crack, everything would explode from thermal shock. So you have to let it slow down or cool down equally slowly. It takes even longer to cool down. And when the pots come out of the kiln, they have music in them. If you flick the lid, the rim of a pot that has been fired, there's music in it. Before it's fired, it's just a dull sound. When it comes out of the fire, there's music in it. And it's a kind of parable in a way. A human being gets music in them when they have suffered. When you have been pushed to a great extreme in this way or that way or the other. You might think it's a great tragedy or too much of a challenge at the time, but it brings music out of people. There was a Dominican mystic in the 14th century, Henry Suso, who was a younger confrere of Meister Eckhart. And he said, people who have not suffered, what do they know? They don't know anything. To suffer, in fact in English the word to suffer used to mean to allow. To allow the pain of life to reach you. So when you stack your baby pots in the kiln, you feel a bit like a mother. I think it's my impression of what a mother feels like, though it must be far back from it. It's like committing your babies, putting them to school the first day, because you don't know what's going to happen to them. You hope for the best, and it's usually fine, but still you have that solicitude. You don't know what's going to happen. They're going to go through a tremendous test, the test of fire. But when they come out, they will have music in them. And that's what we hope for ourselves too. When we've gone through all we have got to do and all we have to suffer, there's going to be music. Thank you.